I've been doing this thing for a pretty long time now. Actively trading, actively investing, actively going bald on account of my risk management practices. And in that time, I've met thousands of traders, mentored a good chunk of them, and watched myself go through basically every single phase that this game has to offer. And I can tell you right now, with no hesitation, that there are exactly 7 levels to this thing. Just 7. And everybody walks in at level 1 thinking that they've figured something out, but almost nobody makes it to level 7. And the levels in between are where people get stuck, they blow up their accounts, they swear off trading forever, and then they turn around and come back 6 months later and do it all again. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna walk you through every single one of these levels, tell you exactly what each one looks like, and most importantly, tell you what's actually keeping you stuck there. Because the gap between these levels is not what most people think it is. If you're new here, my name is Will Johnson. I'm a former professional Call of Duty player who's been actively trading and investing for the last 13 years. And if you're enjoying these videos, I would absolutely love you to death if you went down there and hit that subscribe button for me. So hopping right in at level 1, we have the Gambler. And look, there ain't no shame in it. Everybody starts here. I don't care if you went to the Wharton School of Business or you found out about stocks from a TikTok video while you was sitting on the toilet. We all walked through this door at some point. This is the person who opens up a brokerage account because they saw somebody flexing gains on social media, but they got no strategy, no plan, no risk management, trading off vibes. Just this stock sounds cool, or some dude in the Discord told me this was about to pop. That's literally the entire thesis for this person. And here's the cruel part about level 1. You might actually make money at first. For real, your first trade might hit. And that is hands down the worst thing that could possibly happen to you, because now you think you're good at this. You're probably not good at this. This is the Dunning-Kruger in effect. But of course, your brain doesn't know that yet. Back when I was first getting started, it was with the weed stocks. And I thought, I had found the next Uber for weed. This was 2013, 2014. The talk of legalization was in the air. And I really thought I had picked out some incredible penny stocks.
And I caught some massive moves in some of these stocks. In almost a month, my little $40,000 or $50,000 account had ballooned up to almost $1 million.
Turned out just a few years later, all those penny stocks are absolutely worthless. And although I made a lot of money really quickly at first, that did not last. That did not last. And if you want to know the easiest way to tell if you're at level 1, if somebody asks you, why'd you get into a particular trade? And you got nothing, no real answer, maybe you mumble something about the chart looking good, or somebody told me it was gonna run, but you can't actually explain your reasoning because there's not any. You just rolling the dice and calling it trading or investing. That is how you know you are still at level 1 in the gambling phase. And like I said, there's no shame in it. Gambling can even work for a little bit until it doesn't. And when it stops pretty hard. So no plan, no edge. You're buying stocks on stock tips and just your gut feeling, and you can't really explain what trade you're in. After level 1, 2 things can happen. You either blow up or you get lucky enough to realize that you have no idea what you're doing. But either way, you start learning. Welcome to level 2. This is the student. You're watching YouTube videos at midnight. You bought Trading in the Zone off Amazon because everybody said it was going to change your life. Maybe you just found out what a candlestick chart is. You feel like you've discovered fire. You've got RSI, MACDs, Bollinger Bands, Fibonacci retracements. You're absorbing all of this information like a sponge. And the problem is, learning feels like progress at this stage. And it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. Because you could just binge trading content for 6 months and be absolutely no better at trading than you were before you started. And like I said, level 2 traders, they love their indicators. Oh my God, the amount of indicators I've seen on people's charts, whether it's moving averages or VWAP or volume profile, or they got 1 million lines on their chart, and God forbid the price touched one of those lines and bounced off. They feel like they really got it figured out. But you go back and look at their charts and executions, and it looks like somebody threw spaghetti at a Christmas tree. It's too much information. It's analysis paralysis. They can look back in hindsight and try to pick out, patterns that they saw, but actually executing in real time is a completely different story. And I was stuck at level 2 for a long time, way longer than I would like to admit, honestly, because it's comfortable there. You feel productive. You go to bed feeling like I really learned something today. I was watching all these podcasts and my mental game is better, but you're collecting knowledge, but you're not actually playing the game. And because of that, a lot of people at level 2 are still not consistently profitable. And now the gap between level 2 and level 3 is actually not about learning more. It's about learning less. It's about finding a niche and focusing on getting really good at one thing instead of being average at everything. So once again, the student, they consume everything, but they really apply nothing. You got 14 indicators on the chart, but you got 0 conviction in your trade. So you feel like you're making progress, but you're actually not. I feel for you if you're at level 2. Which brings us to level 3. This is what I like to call the system builder. And this is actually where things start to get a little bit real, because you stop being a tourist in the market and you start being a trader. Maybe for the very first time. You finally stop trying to learn every single strategy and every single thing you can, and you've just committed to one lane. Maybe you're trading breakouts, maybe you're shorting small caps, you could be selling options premium. It really doesn't matter at this point. It's just the fact that you have a singular focus now. The important part is you picked something and now you're building rules around it. If this happens, I get in the stock. If that happens, I get out of the stock. My position size is calculated based on this formula. My stop goes here, period, no exceptions. For the first time in your trading career, you actually know what you're gonna do before the market opens. And just having a plan at all puts you ahead of probably 80% of people who like to call themselves traders. This might also be the step where you start journaling. So you write down what you traded, why you traded it, what actually happened versus what you expected to happen. And look, I know that journaling is not the sexiest part of trading. It's honestly tedious and it's pretty boring. Nobody gets into trading because they, dream about filling out spreadsheets. But when you go back and you read a month worth of journal entries, that's when the light bulbs start going off. You start noticing things that you'd never actually catch in real time. Maybe you always lose money on Fridays, or maybe your win rate on morning trades is higher than your afternoon trades. Or there's a specific setup that you nail every single time, but you only take it once a week because you're too busy chasing all the other stuff. The data starts telling you a story about yourself that you couldn't see before. For example, I used to swing trade options back in the day, and it was a very low win rate yet high risk reward strategy, meaning whenever I would win big, and it was intoxicating. I loved it. But what I didn't realize is when you're trading one of those strategies, the drawdowns can be very intense. And it wasn't until after I started journaling and tracking these things that I realized what the win rate actually was versus what I expected or wanted it to be. And therefore I needed to size way down. You can't risk 2% of your account on every trade if you're trading a 20% win rate. If you plug that into a risk of ruin calculator, it says, stop, stupid. Finding a niche and building rules and journaling during this stage helps you identify those problems so you can apply them in the future. And honestly, most people never even get to level 3, straight up, because this is what requires doing the dirty work, the boring work, and nobody actually wants to hear that. Backtesting, again, it is not sexy. You're writing a trading plan on Saturday afternoon and your buddies are all out doing something fun. This is not the fun part of trading, but this is the level where you cross from being a gambler to an actual trader. But the problem is here, just having a system and actually sticking to a system, 2 completely different battles. Which brings us to level 4. Level 4 is what I like to call the emotional wreck. And look, this is the level that has made me many times want to just quit trading forever, because even if you make it to level 7, you can always revert back to level 4 at any given time. But here you have a system. You know that. You've back tested it. You've ran the numbers. On paper, you are a profitable trader. But when you sit down at the desk with real money on the line, something happens. You start operating with your medulla oblongata. Your system says that you should hold the trade, but you close it early because you're scared of giving back the profit. Your system says you should have your stop loss at this price, but you move it down because it's about to bounce, dude, I can feel it. Your setup triggers, but you skip it because your last trade was a loser and you're still a little bit shook from that. Then you watch the setup that you skipped go up 40% without you, and you want to put your fist through the monitor. Or, and this one is probably the most destructive thing a trader can do, you take a loss and you immediately jump right back in trying to make it back. Revenge trading. Ooh, it's a big one. And that second trade, it has absolutely nothing to do with your system. It's pure emotion. Your ego is screaming at you, refusing to end this day red. And like clockwork, that revenge trade makes the hole even deeper, which makes it doubly hard to recover from. I like to tell the story of one of my largest intraday losses ever, which was during the Volmageddon period of 2018. I was buying XIV and SVXY after hours on a day when the VIX had gone up over 100%. And these products were inverse of the VIX, meaning if the VIX goes up, these go down. And what I hadn't calculated in my head was that if the VIX went up over 100% in a single day, that meant this thing that I was buying was absolutely worthless. So I started buying it when it was down 60%, and then it went down 65%. And I was thinking, well, I ain't taking this loss now. This is an even better trade. So I bought more, and then it went down 75%. And of course, now I thought I was getting a great deal and I can't take this loss. This loss is way too big, so I need to make it back. I bought more. And the situation continued for a couple of hours that day until finally the thing was down 90 to 95% and I had lost $85,000 in one afternoon. And have you ever taken a loss so big that it doesn't even hurt, you just go numb? It's almost like your brain is blocking that pain because the pain is so deep, it's pretending that it didn't even happen. Like it's not even real, the numbers that you're seeing on the screen. If you've ever had a loss like that, you know that revenge trading and trading outside of your system, just in general, is one of the most dangerous things that you can do. And I'm telling you, this right here, this is it. This is the level that separates people who trade for just a couple of years versus people who trade for a living. And the crazy thing is, the difference between level 3 and level 4, it has absolutely nothing to do with skill or what you think is skill in trading. You've already got the skills. Your system already works. You figured that out in level 3. The gap is entirely in your head at this point. The system is profitable, but you are the bug in the code. And like I said, most traders live at level 4 permanently. They bounce between great weeks where they followed their rules and terrible weeks where they didn't. And they can never quite figure out why they keep doing this to themselves. And I'll tell you why. Discipline is not a thing you learn one time and then you're done. It's a muscle. You have to work it every single day. And that daily practice of practicing that discipline is what eventually drags you into level 5, if you make it this long. Level 5, we're gonna call the disciplined trader. And boy, when you get here, it feels different. Everything feels different. Like something in your brain finally rewired itself. And the weird thing about the jump from 4 to 5 is that nothing external actually changed. You didn't discover some magical new indicator. You didn't find a secret strategy or get insider information from a hedge fund buddy. The charts look exactly the same at level 5 as they did at level 4. But the difference is entirely inside your noggin. At level 5, you get this concept that honestly takes many people years to internalize, that a losing trade and a bad trade are not the same thing. You can take a loss and feel completely fine about it because you allowed yourself to follow your process. And vice versa, you could book a winner and feel sick about it because you know if you do that over time, you're gonna end up losing money. And a lot of people are gonna hear that and it's gonna sound basic and you're gonna say, yeah, I get it, but you don't actually get it. Not really, not in your bones, because it's really hard to feel good about losing money. It's kind of insane. But at level 5, you've accepted that every individual trade is essentially meaningless. It doesn't matter. What matters is whether you executed your process. And if you did, the math is what handles itself over the course of 100 or 1,000 trades. So you stop judging yourself on the outcomes of your trades and you start judging yourself on your executions. My most recent example of this was my silver trade, which I posted a video about, in which I lost close to $15,000 on the front side of that move trying to short it while it was going parabolic. But I knew whenever I placed that trade that if something happened and I was wrong and I was early, that the trade would be getting even better. That meant that the stock was going more and more parabolic and therefore the expectancy was going higher. And that level of thinking is what allowed me to keep a rational mind and turn around and nail that silver short and end up making $30,000 on the trade. But if I was sitting there pissy about losing the first trade and not being happy with the execution, I easily could have lost that and never made those losses back. And so this is the level where really you stop checking your P&L every 30 seconds. You stop obsessing over what a stock does after you exit. Did I sell it and it went higher? Who cares? Nobody cares. You know, you had 3 losers today, but you followed all your rules. That's a good day. You don't know in which order the winning trades are gonna come, okay? And you can't fake this stuff. You're not gonna find this in a motivational speech or on a poster you put on your wall. But here's where your results start to get consistent, and not because your system improved. Like I said, the system's been the same since level 3, but now you're actually running it clean. You've got no interference, no overrides. And whenever you operate with that level of consistency, it starts to build confidence, a confidence that you've probably not had before. This is not the fake confidence that you get at level 1 whenever you get lucky. Real confidence comes from knowing that you can execute no matter what the market throws at you. The best players in Call of Duty, they don't have a tournament mode and a regular mode. They play the same way every time. Practice, scrims, grand finals, it really doesn't matter, they're just gonna smash you. So it's the same approach, same discipline, same execution, that's what makes them elite. And that is what level 5 looks like in trading. But even at level 5, you still will run into problems, because unfortunately, a single trading system doesn't work in all market environments, which is why the jump from level 5 to level 6 is when you start adapting to those market environments. Level 6 is the adaptive trader. And the difference between 5 and 6 is actually pretty subtle, but it does start to change everything for you. Because at level 5, you're running one system and you're running it pretty well. You've got the same rules every day, the same execution. It's beautiful. But at level 6, you realize something slightly uncomfortable. And that is that no single system in the market works forever. Markets like to change over time. Just with shorting small caps, for example, in 2020, it was relatively easy with all the quote unquote dumb money in the market to short a lot of these overpriced assets and things that went parabolic and make money. If you try that same playbook in 2026, where you're sitting at a poker table full of sharks and the dumb money is nowhere to be found, you are gonna get ripped to pieces. And so a level 5 trader keeps running that same playbook and wonders why it's not hitting anymore. A level 6 trader, on the other hand, might say, oh snap, this ain't working anymore. Let me change something. And this is honestly where the macro picture starts mattering a little bit more. So if you've seen some of my other videos on what's happening with the war in Iran, or what's going on with AI and software stocks, even the shadow banking situation and private credit, that context starts to become more critical at this level, because now you're not just staring at a chart. You're not just drawing lines on your chart. You're starting to ask bigger, like I said, macro level questions like, what is the environment right now? Should I be stepping on the gas, or should I be maybe sitting on my hands? Is this a market where my edge is actually strong, or is this one that's just going to chop me up to bits? And sometimes, honestly, a lot of times, the right answer is the boring one, and it's the fact that you just need to sit this one out, which sounds easy when we're just sitting here talking on a YouTube video or watching a YouTube video. But when you're sitting in front of the screens for 6, 8, 10 hours a day, and you haven't taken a single trade for 3 days, you start going a little bit crazy. You feel useless, because we like to correlate time with money, because in the real world, the more you work, the more you make. It's not the same in trading though. If anything, it's the opposite. Trading is not a job, so the results are not linear. You can go months at a time without making anything and then make your entire year in a couple of days. It's honestly very similar to the situation right now. I want to say 80 to 90% of my profits so far this year have come from like 3 trades. And that's because the macro environment has shifted. The stocks and types of trades that I would normally take as like a daily driver type of setup, they ain't happening every day. And so I don't go out trying to force things. I sit on my hands. I've had more no trade days this year so far than probably the last 4 or 5 years combined. And that's because there's just less opportunities. And so I do less during those times. And I also size up more when those opportunities do come around. So the silver trade, the Bitcoin trade, things like that, because that gives me time to relax and not feel like I have to press and rush in order to continue making money, because that feeling of pressure really works against you as a trader. So once again, the adaptive trader, you start reading the room a little bit more. You adjust to market conditions, you know when to sit out, and you understand the macro level context of the market. Which brings us to level 7, the final level that everybody's been waiting for. We're gonna call this one the self-aware trader. Top of the mountain. They finally made it in trading. And I'm gonna be real with you, I am not a level 7. Maybe I've had moments where I start to hit level 7, but you can very easily get kicked right back down to level 4. And the word self-aware trader, it sounds very philosophical or whatever, but it's not. You're just fully comfortable with yourself and your strategy. So you've taken all of the lessons and things from the first 6 levels. You've completely detached from P&L. You're not looking for, you know, stock tips or really any sort of advice from anyone. Even if that advice is good, like, it's not to say you stop learning at level 7, but you understand that you don't need to be all things all at once, and you're very comfortable with trading inside your own niche and becoming an expert at that. And you realize that you can just size that up. And these are also the people that are very good at sizing up their accounts. So at level 6, you could be consistently making $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a day. Level 7, these are the animals, the people that have no problem, you know, taking orders of magnitude more risk and turning those $1,000 days into $10,000 days or $100,000 days without it affecting their execution too much. And that, like, even after 13 years, that stuff is still very difficult for me, especially if you have really bad past experiences of blowing up accounts or getting caught in these crazy, like, black swan type of moves. That stuff can leave scars that makes it really difficult to size back up to extreme levels. But at level 7, you're just completely comfortable with yourself. And it's not to say that you can predict the market. You know that you cannot predict the market, but you also know that you don't have to in order to be a profitable trader. So you are completely at ease with yourself and your trading. Which is not to say that it gets easy, even at level 7, because like I said, you could fall into that negative feedback loop with one loss and go all the way back to level 4 and if you start operating with the monkey brain again and leading with the medulla oblongata, you can go right back there and be an emotional wreck. And I myself have done that many times, going from a level 6 or, you know, maybe you're getting close to level 7 and then you get smacked down and now you're back at level 4. It happens all the time. But again, the level 7 trader, they know their edge, they know their weaknesses, their patterns, and they realize that the market is just never really the problem. It's full accountability. You are always the variable. And trading doesn't get easy, but it starts to get simpler when you stop fighting yourself. All right, so let me run through these again real quick. Level 1, we have the gambler. You're just winging it. You got no plan. You're buying stuff because somebody on the internet told you to. Level 2 is the student. You're learning everything under the sun, but you're never actually doing anything with it. Level 3, we have the system builder. You finally got some rules, you finally have a plan, and you treat this thing like a real business. Level 4, the emotional wreck. So you've got that system, but you keep getting in your own way. Level 5, the disciplined trader. You start executing your plan no matter what, and you judge yourself based off your execution of the process and not the outcome. Level 6, the adaptive trader. You start reading the environment a little bit more and you adjust. You know when to go big, you know when to sit out. And level 7, top of the mountain, the self-aware trader. You understand yourself just as deeply as you understand the market. So here's my ask. Be honest with yourself. Which level are you at right now? Not which one you want to be at, not which one that you even tell people you're at, the real one, based on what you actually do every single day when nobody's watching. Because the truth is, you cannot get to the next level if you are lying to yourself about where you are right now. And this game is very difficult. It takes a long time to go through these steps. But drop your level in the comments. I genuinely would like to know where everybody's at in this moment of time. And if you're sitting at level 4 and you're feeling like you're never gonna break through, trust me, I get it. I was camped out at that sucker for a long time. But the move to level 5 is closer than you think. Keep showing up, keep putting in the reps, and eventually things will fall in your favor. Green Wall Street Discord is free if you want to talk about this stuff with people who are going through the same thing right now. Links in the description. And once again, if you'd like to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button for me. I'd love you even more for it. But thank you for tuning in. Stay safe, trade smart, and I will catch you right back here next time. Peace out, everybody.